Hey y'all! And welcome to the Sorry Not Sorry Generation podcast, where we bring you a not-so-healthy dose of humor and reality as we get our hands dirty with some serious nostalgia and question everything.
Let's dive in.
Hey y'all!
Hey y'all!
It's Misty.
It's Ani.
Or are we? Dun dun dun!
Dun.
Maybe we're secretly aliens. You don't know.
How we wish.
We do have a thing of like attracting cryptids to our podcast. So,
yeah, we do have that. We might
would
have
almost,
some kind of alien.
like, it would almost be fitting if we were aliens, and like that's why like cryptids and stuff like to come to our podcast. Like we've got Swamp Thing and like and the
Bigfoot.
the Yeti that lives up in Alaska and all that. So, you know, like we attract an interesting crowd, and that's okay.
I like the crowd that we get.
You can come here and be your full cryptid self.
Yes,
and
you can.
That is our promise to you. You can come here and be a cryptid. It's like we accept all cryptids. It doesn't matter who you are. So you just have to come and hang out with these two possible aliens. So we don't really know. But in case you can't tell, today we have decided to venture into a
world of aliens.
I was going to say an out of this world topic.
But
into the world of aliens, in case anybody didn't know. And for any of our international listeners who may not know, the United States government recently more or less confirmed the fact that aliens existed. They'd known they existed for quite some time, and basically giving validity to every like backwoods crazy redneck person who has ever claimed they've been abducted by aliens, that aliens are in fact real. They just don't know what to do with them. And that was the whole thing. The government admitted there were like UFOs, but it wasn't just like UFOs and like there's an object and we don't know what it is, but like that there were things they could not explain, and which more or less they were just kind of attributing to, without saying it, aliens. So there was not a huge reaction online. People were
because
just like,
everyone's like,
yeah, we figured that out. Yeah, it's just like, I still have to pay rent tomorrow, right? So, like, if I still have to pay rent tomorrow, then it's just not my problem. So
I don't care.
I think the government, like, one of the reasons they put it off for so long is the fact that they just thought people would lose their minds. But the world is in such a disaster, like, place that nobody cares. Also,
no one cares.
Most people pretty much figured aliens existed. Like, anybody who's taken a science class can realize the fact that, statistically speaking, it is astronomically unlikely that we are the only sentient living creatures in the universe.
If you listen to any talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know that we are not the only things out there. Like, we can't be. We can't be this fucking dumb. Like
he's moved on from that and has debated like creatures of higher intelligence that we can't perceive because we're too fucking stupid. Like,
I saw one like yesterday that was when he was talking about you know, we, like, us humans and chimps are like 99% the same DNA, but we can't communicate. We are like that 1% different where like we can say the most simplest sentence and words and it just goes right over the chip's head. Like, they don't get it. Like, what else is out there that has 99% the same DNA as us, but we're 1% too stupid to figure out what they're saying?
And it's like to even comprehend what it is that they're saying. And like, you know what? That's probably why they haven't come here, because they're like, look at these morons on this planet. They just keep fucking up. Like, why would we want to go here?
It's
true.
It's true. I mean, look at what's happening to my people.
That's true.
We just lost Artsakh.
Yeah. For anybody listening in the future when we were recording this, that was today. Like, that more or less happened today. So for the people who are listening to this in the future, that was not fun, and I can't imagine what those people are going through.
Waking up to find out that one of your ancestral lands is being completely taken over and dissolved.
Yeah. So aliens are like literally the least of this planet's problems. We've got enough problems with
I
ourselves.
wish aliens would show and be like, "Hey, anybody want to come join us to a better place?"
It's just like, no, it would just be like, hey, and then I'd just be like, take me with you. Like, there you go. Or we could go the more classic route where they could say, take me to your leaders. Sure. Where do you
Sure,
want to
please come this
start?
way. I will direct you to how to get to our leaders.
Just like, past, present, possible future ones. We're dealing with all of them at the moment. Here you go. You can't make it worse. You
You
can't.
can't.
So there you go. Which country do you want to look at the leaders of? Because there you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it just the aliens are literally the least of the planet's problems. Did I think aliens were real well before the government announced it? Obviously, yeah.
Yes.
Anybody who sat for like 5 minutes and really considered the unfathomable size of the universe and how, like, I think it was the Hubble telescope that took a picture of a piece of space, and it was the width of like a piece of paper or something like that, and when they zoomed in on it, it was like millions of galaxies or something like that, or thousands of galaxies, and each of those galaxies has billions upon billions of planets and stuff like that. The odds of us being the only sentient creatures in the universe is
it's
it's not possible,
it's
really.
not
Like, it's
possible for us to be the only sentient creatures out there.
yeah.
We can't. We
There are a bunch
can't
of
be.
there are a bunch of different theories about why we haven't officially run into other aliens. There's a couple of theories. One is obviously more in line with like the idea of Starfleet, where they won't interact with undeveloped planets and civilizations, ones who haven't developed official and true space travel the way we see in like Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff like that. Another theory is the idea of like the Great Filter, and it's that no civilization manages to develop past a certain point, and that's why there are no space traveling civilizations, because something happens and you don't develop past a certain point. I believe that's the Great Filter theory. It's that, or it's the theory that like something keeps all civilizations from developing to a certain point, a catastrophe of some sort. And the thing is we the idea was that we're not sure which side of the Great Filter that we're on. Are we post Great Filter, or are we leading up to it? And that's why civilization's getting worse, and that we will destroy ourselves and it'll all start back over again.
I believe that because, like, if anything, if there is one conspiracy theory that I actually believe,
Mm-hmm.
it's that Atlantis was real.
Okay. Okay.
The ancient Greeks who were there way before, no wait, the ancient Greeks and Egyptians, they were there same time, or the Greeks were there before?
Egypt is older by
Okay,
far.
so we
Like
have the ancient.
Cleopatra and like
Oh no.
ancient Greece are pretty closer together. So.
Okay, so we have ancient Egypt, and we have like ancient, like I'm talking about ancient Greece.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Try
way
ancient
that the
Mesopotamia.
there you go. We have Mesopotamia and ancient Greece, and you're telling me that these people who created these magnificent structures, these
Mm-hmm.
machines and mathematics and philosophy and all these things, and just all of a sudden got wiped out and sent back to the fucking like Stone Age.
Mm-hmm. And like the Dark
Mm,
Ages, where like we didn't learn
yeah.
anything and stuff like
Mm.
that. Yeah, yeah. Now, like, I don't think in the concept of the Great Filter that that's what the Great Filter is supposed to mean. I think the Great Filter is supposed to be like a total destruction of the civilization to the point that life starts over, if I recall correctly. I'm not entirely certain. There's probably more than one version of it as well. But that's one of the ideas too, is that like nobody can develop past a certain point because society just manages to collapse upon itself. And or like in nuclear wars and stuff like that, and we just wipe ourselves off the face of the our own planet.
Because no one knows how to fucking get along.
So here's a question for you. In
Yes,
the
ma'am.
concept of the idea of aliens, of
Mm-hmm.
everything. I don't know if you read a lot of stuff with like aliens and stuff like that. You and I are very hard fantasy readers, and like that doesn't usually involve like a lot of aliens because that's more sci-fi. Of all of the fictional worlds that you have read or watched that involve aliens, which one would you prefer to live in?
Oh God. Um, aliens. Now, the only one that comes to mind, it's the word I keep saying in all of our chats with Erin because she knows what the fuck I'm talking about. It's the Aurora Rising
Okay.
trilogy that I've read. It's young
Okay.
adult and it's sci-fi. And there's this alien species
Uh-huh.
in that world that on one hand sounds really really nice, but on the other hand is fucking terrifying. So if
Okay.
you get infected by this alien species, they're called Raham, which is
Okay.
and the inspiration for them was taken from that glass museum in Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're called
Freaky.
Raham, and if you get infected, you basically become integrated into this one hive mind.
Oh my god, it's the Borg. No.
It is, yeah. So, but it's not. There's no machinery like the Borg, but
Yeah, yeah.
same idea, hive mind. So like everyone shares the same memories. Like everyone's memories get integrated into this whole like overworld memory thing. You know, you will
Mm.
feel at home. You feel safe. You feel, you are one of the Raham. You are one of us. Everything's fine. No worries, nothing, right? But you completely lose your individuality in your character. You keep all your memories. Maybe some are wiped for better ones. Like they switch things around, and like they're all trying to run away and like just stop the Raham. And obviously, spoiler alert: one of them gets taken by the Raham, and it was very sad. But it's just like I would not want to be anywhere near them whatsoever.
So, of all of the world and books and series and that you've read or watched that involve
That
aliens, that's the
that
one you want to be a part of?
that's the one I mean, I want to be part of now because the Raham are finished. But no, no,
I
that is
was
what
like,
I don't want to be a part of.
you didn't say Star Wars, and that surprised me. So I was expecting you to say Star
See,
Wars.
Star Wars is one I would love to be a part of. Maybe Star Trek,
Yeah,
but
Star Trek is good.
like Aurora Rising is definitely not one I want to be part of.
Okay. I think I wouldn't want to be a part of the Star Wars world just because I'd have no fucking frame of reference for anything at all, and I'd be like, I'm good. Like, no thanks. I don't know shit. I'm good.
You'd be
I
the
would.
best that you would have like the best kill rate when wielding your lightsaber because you're like, what do I do with this thing? You turn it on, someone behind you dies.
Yeah, and like sometimes, and like it'll get to the point that you're like, you're not this bad with it, are you? You're doing this on purpose, right? And be like,
Like,
yeah.
no, I'm really not.
I'd be like, like it's 50-50. It's a little worse than I'd like it to be, but I did definitely shoot that guy through the dick for a reason. So it's like he has a really like lightsaber shaped hole in somewhere he wish he didn't now. But I would my of what world like I would like to be a part of. Now there's a lot of arguments for being a part of Star Trek, and that I could probably spend another like 6 episodes talking about the wonderful world of Star Trek and all of the reasons I would love to be a xenoanthropologist or a xenoarchaeologist in the world of Star
Yes, you
Trek.
would be. Yes.
I could spend just as much time telling you why I wouldn't be able to work for Starfleet because of the sheer amount of math and physics they have to know for even the most basic of positions.
And I'm
So
pretty sure if you want to be a xenoarchaeologist and/or anthropologist, you need to know a lot of alien languages.
they have a universal translator.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Spock's mom worked on it.
Never
Pretty sure.
mind.
I'm pretty sure it was Spock's mom who worked on it. Don't quote me on that. I read that in fan fiction. So I'm pretty sure it was Amanda Grayson, but I can't be 100% positive. But because even I only trust so much the information I get out of my fan fiction, but still, I think it was her. But yeah, they have a universal translator, and you just wear it, and you can. There you go. Which I think is something I would love. Like if there's going to be anything from a book that come into the real world, a universal translator would
Uh
be on point.
yes.
Um, Another one that I would have to say I might even pick over Star Trek, maybe. It's really good though. But for anybody who's read the Innkeeper Chronicles by
Ah.
Alona Andrews, that series is fantastic because it's like the supernatural creatures of like the werewolves and the vampires are real, but they're aliens, and that the Earth is a hub intergalactic travel based on the fact that like you have to use like waypoints to get from like one place to another. So you have to like transport yourself from one stop to the next stop.
Okay.
And Earth is the only 12-point planet in the galaxy. And so they get all of these different travelers and everything that comes in. So that's how we get a lot of our different like myths and stuff like that, like vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. Because they're actually aliens that have been visiting Earth. And that's why you can't find them, because they don't stay here permanently. They stay in these specialized inns that these alien creatures stay in. And like there's a planet of werewolves and stuff like that, and but there's also a planet of vampires. Easily my favorite version of vampires of all time. And they're aliens, and like there's a concept in the book that when when a species develops space travel, they will develop from that point forward technologically but not socially. And what happened with the vampires is their planet was invaded by an alien species when they were still in their feudal era of wearing like knights armor and fighting with swords and building giant stone castles. So when these aliens came and invaded, vampires, they were able to win and like fight off all of these aliens and stuff like that. So they developed technologically but not socially. So they still keep like they wear armor, but now it's like this like sin on like nanotech armor, and they have like these
Huh.
fancy space weapons, but they're swords and maces and stuff like that. And they've still build giant castles and things like that. It's really cool. And I just might be in love with Ireland just a little bit. No, I'm
That's
not kidding. And just a lot, actually. um, and one of my favorite things about it is they were made, the series was made to be put online just for free for people to read when she was first writing them, because she would write it and like post the chapters online on her website.
uh-huh.
And I should say they, Ilona Andrews is a duo. But so they would just post them online for people to read, and when they were done, then they would bind it in a book, and you could like get the ebook for like a couple bucks. But they would include art for like a lot of the big characters, like the main characters. It's gorgeous art, and they do it for all of like the big characters that they have. And Arlen's art is just like, oh my god. Just oh my god, yes please. So like yeah,
That's the
it's
one you
one.
sent me a picture of.
Now
Okay.
the art that's in the book is more in color. There's more than one art piece for him, but it's more in color, and he's blonde.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
like that book you and I are reading, the like, what is it, King of
King
Blood
of
and
Battle and Blood.
King of Battle and Blood. I just keep thinking of that guy as Arlen's ancestor, like before the space travel happened, and I'm just like, that's all I think about, and I'm just like, yes, yes, it's that, but like in the future with aliens, and it's just like I love it. But that's also where quite a while back, I sent you and Aaron a picture of the space chicken that had like the little pope looking
Yes.
hat. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yes.
the series that's the space chicken philosopher is from. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, so that I love that series. But that one I would love to live in that world, assuming I could be in one of the inns. And because the inns change, like the shape of the rooms and everything are customized to you and any of the other visitors that come in. And
Oh, that's cool.
but the ends, like they customize and change to meet whatever the guests want, all the way from like their bedrooms to like living spaces and like all of this other. It's really really good. It's very detailed too, and like the different cultural aspects, and that's probably the thing I like about it the most. It's just the sheer amount of like effort that's put into making each and every alien species their own thing. And I really like the fact that they put so much time and effort into that. And it's one of my favorite series too. Like, cause I like her other series a lot, but it might be my favorite. Mostly, it's not even for the main series, but one of the books in the series is an offshoot about the lead character's sister. And
Oh.
that's my favorite book. That is my second favorite book of all time. It's called Sweep of the Blade. And I could read that book over, and I read it at least several times a year, as I'll sit there and I'll read it.
Okay.
So, and very very recently it was put in, the series was put into print, so I bought the
Ha
print version
ha!
of it, and
Nice.
it's sitting right here. But And it's one of those books I could just pick up and just read with just no issues at any given point. At any point in the book, I'd know what was happening. So I think that's the world I'd be most interested in living in. I would sob slightly at the idea of passing up the world of Star Trek, but at the same time, that would require me to know so much math. Just like this one just requires me how to swing a sword. Like I'm good.
Facts. Now, if you had asked me which supernatural world I want to live in, I have a few that I would really have to like
Yeah, it would be an
consider.
effort. It would be
It
a
would be an
huge
effort because there are quite a few.
We should do an episode on that, like debating not only what world we would want to live in, but we'd have to justify why we would survive in it, or how fast we think we would die in the other worlds.
Yeah.
We should have like a fictional world battle royale.
I see. I don't think I would survive in the Dark Hunter world.
Yeah.
I don't
Some
have
of
any
those
kind of
worlds
superpowers.
are
I don't have any connections to any gods. Or bloodlines. I don't have. I'm not an ancient, Greek or Roman or Sumerian warrior. Like I'd be fucked.
yeah. On the flip side, I think we would both survive really well in the world of Harry Potter, because if you find
Yes.
Voldemort, just shoot him.
Coming from the world of muggles, we would carry a wand and a gun.
Just forgo the wand and just punch him in the face. Voldemort doesn't have a nose because it got punched off of him by a muggle who told him he looked like an idiot.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
yeah. There's like a lot of like back and forth, but we'd have to like come up with like a list of fictional worlds, and then we'd all have to debate like whether or not we think we would survive in these worlds. And you'd have to logically justify how you would survive. Not just being like, oh well, I suddenly discover that, like I'm so and so's mate, and like that he just protects me from. No, to logically justify why you would survive in that world.
I wouldn't. I don't think I can survive in any of them. That's the thing.
I think there's a few we would survive in.
Like Harry Potter, yes. The Wizarding World, we'd be fine in. We've covered all the loopholes. We know how to manage this. Prithian, we might have an issue.
Just a little bit of a little issue. Now, it would depend to like at what point do you come into the story? Like, do you come into the beginning?
We've already established that if you and I go back to Prithian, it will be early Prithian, before Highburn. We find the cauldron, turn ourselves into Fae, and then give the cauldron to Reese.
The Seraphim.
To give to the Seraphim. It's like, here, take it.
Yeah.
Hide it.
Because they weren't specific about where that stupid island was, or we could just take it to them ourselves. That is fair. We have spent quite a great deal about that, but we should have an episode of like just getting a bunch of fictional worlds. But it has to be ones we know together. We both know, so we'll have to probably pull from like movie worlds and stuff like that too. Like, how fast would you survive the Hunger Games world? I would not.
I would not, because I haven't read the Hunger Games. I've only seen the first movie, and I thought it was horrible.
I've seen the first 2 movies, and I read the first book. I didn't care for the book, and the movies were all right. I have no inclination towards it. I'm told the books get stupid, so
nothing about the movies, like the movie, interested me. I'm just like, this is stupid.
I can't stand PETA.
I know you can't.
That was my issue. That was like
PETA the baker.
Yeah, I'm just like,
you named your son after bread.
After bread, yeah. Well, my issue was, it's just like, she spends the entire first book stating that their relationship was pretend, and he gets so bitchy that it's not real. And then somewhere between 1 and 2, it just gets weird, and it's just like, okay, whatever. So, but no, I just thought it was weird. It was a weird series. But a lot of those series from when we were like early 20s were very weird. Like the Divergent series was weird, and a couple of those other ones were pretty strange.
The dystopian trope flooded YA in the 2000s.
It was probably one of the worst trope settings.
None of them were done
trends.
right.
None of them were done well. Like there's been so many. Like there was
It's the City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. That's just it.
yeah, and like the different tropes. I remember it was vampires first,
Yes, because
and
I
then
remember reading the Vampire Circle
there were
before, or
so
the
many
Vampire
vampire books.
Diaries, or the Vampire Circle. Well, it was the Vampire Chronicle that started with the Vampire Diaries. I remember reading this book,
Yeah.
and I liked it. And then I heard that they're turning it into a show, and then I watched the show. And from the fucking beginning, I didn't watch the show because I watched the first episode, and I went, everything about this is wrong,
Yeah.
and I didn't like it.
I did hear that the book and the show are like nothing alike.
Nothing alike. Same thing with True Blood.
Yeah.
I got like maybe 10, 12 books into True Blood before, like, maybe 8 books in before they started to make a show about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see how they're gonna do. First season, first episode, okay, not bad. Second episode, completely left field.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it makes you worried about the idea of the ACOTAR series. It's just
I really don't want ACOTAR to be I don't want it to be on the screen. I really don't. Because there is no fucking actor that can do it justice.
That's true. But
if
like
they made
the worst
an animated
part,
series, fine.
The worst part is they're gonna have to spend so much time and effort on the first book. You're gonna have to watch a season about Tamlin.
I don't want to watch a season about Tamlin.
I don't want to watch a season about any of them because it's just not gonna go well. Like somebody mentioned, like you should animate ACOTAR.
Yes,
Throne of Glass as an actual live series, and I'm like, okay, I can see that because I just think ACOTAR is too out of this world to be live. I just
like
think
if they wanted to do CC, like Crescent City, as live, fine.
Yeah,
because it's urban fantasy.
Yeah.
Throne of Glass, I haven't given it that much thought, but
I feel like if they can do Game of Thrones, they could do Throne of Glass. So, but like ACOTAR, look how much they fucked up the Rings of Power show. Like, just no. I will say, like, I would love it if it was animated for the same reason that I really like the fact that, like, The Legend of Vox Machina got picked up as animated. And, like, because it just gives you so much more leeway with it. And, like, we just got through seeing the announcement for Has Been Hotel is now on Amazon Prime, too. And, like, these are animated shows that can do more for the unrealistic nature of the things that happen in the magic that is, like, the world of Prithian. I don't want it to be live because, like you said, no one is going to look as good as we
or act as good as we want them to.
Yeah, because like there's going to be things you're really not going to like about it, and the things that you don't like about the books are going to be enhanced, and the things that you don't like are going to be disappointing because nobody looks like Rhysand. Nobody looks like Cassian.
If
like
anything, if anything, take Henry Cavill and make him play every single part. Like
Henry Cavill is Farah.
Like every male part. Henry Cavill is Helion. He's Baron. He's Reese. He's Cassie.
Elaine. He's Nesta. He's more.
No. Not the women. He's all the men. He's all the fucking men.
No. It's now just a Henry Cavill show. Henry Cavill in a red low-cut dress. Henry Cavill just in a sheer dress. Henry Cavill just dancing around the courts. No. It's now a Henry Cavill one-man show.
I'll still watch it. I would be so happy with it.
I would watch that because that would make me much happier.
The only character who would not be played by Henry Cavill would be Tamlin.
He could be played by Liam Hemsworth.
I was gonna say Sam McEwen, the guy that plays Jamie Fraser from Outlander.
Oh, he'd be a bad casting choice. Damn it!
He'd be a great talent. I would hate the living shit out of him, but I would. He'd do such a great job as Tamlin.
He would. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
The whole thing is Henry Cavill, except for Sam Ewan as Tamlin.
Oh. And he's so good looking. Well, I guess Tamlin's supposed to be really good looking.
Exactly.
Oh, damn.
Liam Hemsworth can be Elaine.
The most useless of all the siblings in both worlds.
Chris Hemsworth can be Lucian. It's fine.
I don't picture Lucian built like Chris Hemsworth though. I picture Lucian
Okay,
built
Chris
more
can be.
like a swimmer or a runner.
Okay, so Chris Hemsworth can be Helion. His dad.
Yes, that's entirely acceptable. Yes, I do accept that. That is perfectly fine. I
Oh, you
don't,
know who Lucian should be? Tom
huh?
Holland. Spidey.
I don't. No, he needs to be older than that. Tom Holland eternally
Who
looks
would
like he's
who?
14.
Okay, who would Hiddleston play?
Who would
I'm
Tom
guessing.
Hiddleston play?
Yeah, I'm guessing Eris
Mm,
because he's depicted as the bad guy, and we know that Loki. He does a great job as Loki.
I
So
picture Eris is bigger though.
really,
Like more muscular than like because like the build of Tom Hiddleston is the build I picture Lucian with, but
okay,
Eris I picture as the point between like Tom Hiddleston and like Henry Cavill. Like there's like the step between the two. More built like Jeremy Renner, you know? Like bigger than
okay.
Tom Hiddleston, but not stepping into like Captain America or Thor territory here.
So Zac Efron.
No. I'd accept Chris Pines before I'd accept Zac Efron. There's nothing wrong with Zac Efron. I do picture Eris is taller though. No offense to Zac Efron, he's just not that tall.
Chris
But
Pine as the Winter Court, the High King, the High Lord of the Winter Court.
yeah, okay, him and his wife. Maybe for some reason I pictured that guy as like an old dude, like in his
I mean,
well, not
Chris
like
Pine is
old.
older, so like he's got
Yeah,
like the
but
salt
like
and
I was
pepper.
picturing uh oh gosh, I don't remember what his name is now. But like it is like at like 55. It was like the age range I was picturing him for, which I don't know how accurate that would be simply because of the fact that like they don't age normally. So,
Where are we supposed to talk about aliens?
yeah, this this is not aliens at all. Uh
Akatar has officially taken over every aspect of our lives because
it's
we
taken
talk
over
about
at least the last several episodes,
we
yes.
connect this shit to everything.
Look, and like, which is really funny when you consider the fact that we have wildly different opinions on the world of Avatar too.
True. The world and the men. Yeah.
And the okay, so maybe not so much the world, but just the men. We have wildly different opinions on the men. Pretty similar opinions on the women. Pretty similar opinions on the world, I think. But the men, that's where you and I always diverge in opinions about different series. So we always diverge in the opinions of the men. So at the very least, well, I guess maybe half the time. Sometimes we have pretty similar opinions. Like we both love Loki and like stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, it has taken over the last several, which is really bizarre when you consider the fact that it's not like either of us are reading the books at the moment.
I
Like
know.
there isn't any reason for this. It just keeps happening. But maybe it's because it's one of the only series that you and I have read together. Like we've both read. It's like
Yeah.
we both read Harry Potter, but we both read ACOTAR, but like there's not a lot of other series in common that I think we have.
No. I will be starting one day. The Ilona Andrews.
Now the Alone Andrews series, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those books. The if you're looking for a shorter series to start, you can start one of her other series. You don't have to start the Kate Daniels series, and because that one's so long.
Yeah, but I like series books. Like
Yeah,
I
like she
prefer
has
series
other
books to
series, but
standalone books.
she's like, well, she has. I don't think she might have a couple standalones, but she has other series that are just not the like 12 books or the 15 books that the Kate Daniels series is. If you want to dip your toe in something shorter first, because like oh the what is the name of that series? Her lead character's name in that one is Nevada Baylor. You'd really like that series. That one's more urban fantasy, but it takes place in very realistic now, but with magic.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, okay.
and it's not like post-apocalyptic, but it explains why it happened, and it was like a genetic experimentation thing, and its magic started spreading like through across the people and everything like that. It's a very good series, and that one has a spin-off series too about her sister, which is also really good. So I think it's the Burn for Me, with me, Burn with Me, for me. What's the first one? I don't remember.
Sounds like a romance name
Hmm.
title.
Burn for Me, I believe. Yeah, it's the Hidden Legacy series. That's what it is.
Okay.
It has a lot of plot, though. Like, because I mean, like they don't. It's less sexual than the book we're reading now,
Oh.
but there's stuff in it, but there's less sex in them. To be fair, the book we're reading now is out of 10 chapters, 9 of them have had sex in it. So,
So
like,
chapters 2 through 10, because there was no sex in chapter 1.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Okay.
much.
We talked about fucking in chapter 1.
Uh huh. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much all of the later ones have some form of fucking in
All
it.
right.
So, um, because I'm in chapter 10 and it's been significant amounts of it. So, which I'm not surprised by simply because it was from that
Book talk.
stuff your Kindle Day series like things and like
Uh,
almost all of them were romance and
yep.
like and
Because it's book talk is flooding everywhere with the freaking romances.
mm-hmm. So okay, it's not a bad book. It's so much sex to the point that it's unrealistic,
Oh
but
yeah, I loved your text going. Okay, you can't be horny 24/7. Like
you can't. He's supposed to be like horny all the time. Like for a woman, maybe. For a dude, no. You would notice. And he would walk weird for one thing. Like he would just no, he's not going into battle with that. Like the things that would rub against the clothes and the uncomfortableness that would feel. Like, no, that's not possible. Please rein it in a little. But like I don't mind that there's sex in it. It's just like make it slightly more realistic on how much the stuff is happening, please. Thank you.
it's fair.
But aliens. Um circle back
Aliens,
to aliens here.
aliens,
Lord, we like this title of this episode is going to be like aliens and other things.
aliens, and Akatar.
Just like aliens and other things that we have talked about that has just gotten lost. But okay. So we've established what kind of alien worlds we wouldn't want to live in and what kind of ones we would, and that they're definitely real.
Yes, aliens are most definitely real.
And what do you like now? Have you ever read any of that stuff? I assume it was originally on Tumblr, but I find most of it on Pinterest, and it's called Space Australia.
No.
Anybody who has not gone onto Pinterest needs to do so, and you need to just put in there Space Australia and read some of the wild but beautifully amazing shit people have come up with because they call Earth Space Australia. We're the weird, psycho, like orc creatures of space. Like in that we're the death worlders, we're the weird ones, we're the things that are surviving everything. Because when you watch shows about like aliens and stuff like that, like they're more durable than us, they're stronger than us, they're faster than us, and like all this other stuff. Like, what if it's the opposite? What if we're the super weird, versatile, indestructible creatures of the universe? What if everybody else is like the fragile, like breakable species? What if we're Space Australia? What if we're the weird ones?
I would 100% believe that, and I just like the first one that I clicked on Pinterest under Space Australia
Uh
was
huh.
humans are fearless travelers. I just have this sneaking suspicion that aliens would not necessarily want to let humans pilot anything. Like,
Yeah.
we're already pretty fearless with how we travel planes, trains, automobiles, boats, hot air balloons. Most of us will figure out how to get to our destination, traffic and weather be damned. If there's a way for us to get somewhere, we'll do it, even if it means we freaking walk there.
That's
It
true.
takes ages before aliens trust us to pilot anything because while we may be cautious when it comes to working with crazy weather plans, we always find a way to get to where we need to go. Yeah, some of us can be reckless and fearless, we have such a will. Imagine, if you will, a mission crew is stuck on a planet due to foul weather and they can't get their shuttle up to meet with their expected expedition ship. The
Mm.
alien mission leader is worried that they won't make it through the storm. But then a human slides into the shuttle's pilot seat and starts firing up the engines with absolute confidence. Mission leader. Human Amaya, what do you think you're doing? Amaya, getting us out of here, boss. Mission leader. It's too dangerous out there. We won't be able to get through or around this storm. Amaya, grinning. It's no worse than any Cat 2 hurricane back home. I've flown through worse conditions before. Mission leader, what? Amaya, hey Jax, tell them about that time we flew a helicopter over a mountain while I got us ready to blast off. Mission leader, human Jax, please tell me that was a human tall tale. Jax, nope, we were trying to avoid a blizzard and there was no other way to do it than to go over a mountain. Okay, it was a pretty small mountain, but we did it. Things got a bit dicey on the way down, but we survived. Mission leader, I don't want to know anymore. Amaya, okay kids, strap in, it's time to blow this popsicle stand. Like,
Yeah.
that alone is why you, yes.
Like, there's things on here about how it's bizarre that humans, like aliens that would meet us and thinking like we're insane because we drink coffee when it's literally a type of poison.
Yeah.
Or like how like we can survive in all kinds of different elements and environments and weather conditions and stuff like that. There's one of them on here is like a writing prompt, and it says, and it's like it starts with a quote, and it says, "So they are a war species then, huh?" The alien scratched his head. "Why are you interested in them? The humans, I mean." The other alien got closer. "They fight for peace. No war species ever fights for peace." Because they're calling us like a war species. And then like, because there's a subgenre of the Space Australia where they call us space orcs. We're the crazy wild ones of space. And quite
Humans are
frankly,
weird, durable space orcs.
yeah. And like another like sub thing to look at too when you're looking at like Space Australia stuff is that just like, especially on Tumblr, is humans are weird. And just all of these prompts and ideas and things like that of people just coming up with ideas about like humans being in space with aliens and aliens reacting to us.
Here you go. Alien, I'm sorry. What did you say your comfortable temperature range is? Human. Honestly, we can tolerate anywhere from -40 to 50 degrees Celsius, but we prefer the 0 to 30 range. I'm sorry. Did you just list temperatures below freezing? Yeah, but most of us prefer to throw on scarves or jackets at those temperatures and it can be a bit nippy. Other human. Nah, mate, I knew this guy in college who refused to wear anything past his knees and elbows until it was -20 at least. Yeah, everybody knows someone like that. Alien. And did you also say 50 Celsius, as in halfway to boiling? Ugh, yes, it sucks. We sweat everywhere, and God help you if you touch a seatbelt buckle, but yes. We've
I
got like
love
50 uninhabitable planets we think you might enjoy. Like, the shit that you find on Tumblr and Pinterest is definitely how a conversation with an alien would go with a human from Earth.
no. I have one.
Yeah.
Like, alien. "We have a very dedicated humanology department in our learning hives." Humanology. Alien.
Learning about
"You
humans.
know, the study of humans and their habits." Human. "Oh, cool. We call them anthropologists here." Alien. "You have humans study other humans?" I'm like, well, yeah. But anybody who hasn't spent time down the rabbit hole of Space Australia, please. I have a whole Pinterest board that is just full, like, I don't know if you can see it. Hang on. Like,
Yep.
it's just full of Space Australia because I love reading about the idea of space because they're always depicting humanity as just the weak species of the galaxy and stuff like that. Especially like when you watch like Star Wars or Star Trek and things like that, we're like weak to like maybe mid-range for the most part. There's always like strong and like tough species. It's like I love the idea that we are that species. We're the crazy species, we're the wild species, we're the super strong durable species, because to us like we're breakable and we suck. But I mean, to be
YOLO.
fair to the Asgardians, Loki kind of sucked. And like, it's just what? So I love that concept. It's one of my favorite concepts about the idea of space is that maybe one day when we go out into space, we'll be space orcs of the galaxy.
Space
And
orcs.
it's just so much fun to think about it. I prefer it so much to all of the alternatives, and it's just I think it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend spending time down that rabbit hole of the humans are weird, Space Australia, space orcs, humans are space orcs categories, Tumblr, Pinterest, whatever. Like, it's honestly one of the best weird genres of things that I've come across on the internet.
Huh.
Huh.
There's a Netflix doc that explores aliens and the UFOs in the Bermuda Triangle.
That's a theory. One of the theories behind the Bermuda Triangle, that it's caused by either alien involvement or like an alien craft that crashed and it's like gives off weird signals, and like that's why the Bermuda Triangle is as fucked up as it is.
I really don't have an explanation for the Bermuda Triangle. Like, my mom is fucking terrified of it. You could throw science at her. She's like, I don't give a shit. It's
Yeah.
no. Like, if I
It's a
told her,
weird
like, hey, we're
area,
going on
yeah.
a cruise and we're going to go through, like, we're going to Bermuda. She's like, absolutely not. She's like, I'll swim to the other islands. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It's fair. The Bermuda Triangle is a weird space. Like, it's a really weird
Like,
space.
I remember reading something about, like, it's just a lot of, like, the magnetism that fucks up
Mm-hmm.
the sonar and the radios and everything. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. I don't know though.
I saw a was it a documentary? Maybe it was just a video or of something. But it was somebody talking about the Bermuda Triangle, and one of the weird things that had happened was there was a fleet of planes that were flying off, and they're supposed to be into the Bermuda Triangle, and they'd been flying for several hours before they just disappeared. And then like it was like a few minutes later they appeared like a couple hundred miles in the other direction, flying over the states, over the land.
Huh.
And they're like,
Interesting.
you could not have gotten that far. How did you get here?
Is that
And
why your
they're like,
mom likes to show manifest?
not to my knowledge, but she does like that show a lot. I think it's funny because it's got that guy from Once Upon a Time in it.
Prince Charming, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alien life, unlike humans, may not be carbon based, suggests new study. You don't say.
Like, did these
I
people
really.
not watch Star Trek? Like,
Earthlings are carbon based. What makes you think that any other planet out there? Yes, things that live on Saturn are carbon based.
like one of the what is it? One of the moons of Jupiter, I think it is, rains diamonds.
Yeah.
Like, universe weird. Like, you just should just assume. The only thing you can effectively assume when considering the things about the universe is that whatever you assume, it could be wrong.
Because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't fucking know. You have no idea. Like they've theorized the possibility that there's a couple of the moons of Jupiter that there could be life on, because one of them is like a frozen ocean basically, and
Yeah.
it for the first like couple of miles deep, it's just solid ice, but they know there's thermal activity in it because geysers shoot up that are so high they break the atmosphere, and we can catch them on camera. So, like that means there's thermal activity, which means that the water at least towards the core is warm, and if it's warm, that means there's a possibility for like growth of like bacterial stuff and eventually the evolvement of life. There could be an entire fucking like Atlantis on that moon and we wouldn't know.
Ice
And who's to
people.
say they're not like ice people or diamond people or whatever you want them to be. But like you watch Star Trek, and like that's all it takes for to tell you like, hey, this shit happens. Like, just think of any possibility you could possibly think of, and there's a chance it's real. So,
Hey, you have to be really pig-headed to think that you're not the only. You're the only thing in this
honestly,
galaxy.
I mean, it is Earthlings we're talking about here, so
That's true. That is true. Very true.
nobody's surprised. Okay, here's a question for you:
Mm-hmm.
3 celebrities you would believe were aliens if somebody told you that they were.
Musk.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's not even a good. That's like a Ferengi style disguise. Like that's. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
I didn't have to think about that one. The first thing came to mind, Musk.
Musk. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, my my next thing went to what's his name? Sylvester Stallone, because I got a flash image of Men in Black.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not gonna really say that one though. I don't know. Other than Musk, who would be an alien? What's her name? This is nothing against her. Oh my God, Tilda Swinton.
Hilda Swinton. Let me see.
You know Tilda Swinton.
I'm sure I do. Oh yeah, no, she's an alien. 100% that woman is absolutely an alien. Yeah, yeah.
Third, oh god, I don't, I don't know. A
What
third
is the
person who could
name
be
of
an
that
alien?
guy? Okay, again, none of these are insults to the people like who they're about, except for
It
maybe the
isn't
one
in.
about
Well,
Musk. Musk is it is,
it's
but
it's not even an insult because if he were to actually be an alien, that would be like his dream come true, and that's like not give him that pat on the back.
that's valid though. Like that's a yeah, I believe that. I think have you ever seen the interviews with Nardwar?
No.
Nardwar is absolutely an alien. And to be fair though, I'm pretty sure Weird Al is also an alien.
Weird Al. Yes.
Weird Al is
Yes.
also an alien. And who else would be an alien? I almost
Snoop Dogg.
no, he's just peak humanity.
Okay.
Like he's just I want him to be human. Like because like I want to judge humanity based on that as a standard for like weirdness of humanity.
Okay.
Like is he a great person? No. Is he a terrible person? Also
No.
probably no. So like I like him as a good middle ground. I would prefer Martha Stewart be an alien though. Like that's she could be an alien.
Okay.
People I would like to be aliens but don't believe that kind of a curse is in the universe would be the Kardashians. I'd like to not claim them as part of my species. I'm gonna avoid the
Oh, I,
politics.
who I'm gonna, the encompassing of what I'm going to say next is, I want to insult them so bad, but I don't want to insult the aliens in the same process.
It's like, hello, aliens. We do not mean to insult you with this statement we are about to make. Please don't hurt Earth if you are offended.
These are the people that I would consider the bottom rung of aliens that the aliens don't even want to deal with.
Okay.
All right? Everyone in Scientology.
Yes. You can't tell me Tom Cruise is not an alien cult leader.
He's not the leader, though. He's their fucking puppet. He's their moneymaker.
He's their spokesperson.
Yeah,
He's
he
the
is.
spokes alien. And Scientology is like, it's like that show Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun is a great show, though.
It is.
A great fucking show.
But like, I think the aliens saw that show and were like, we're gonna go to this planet. We're gonna send our aliens to pretend to be people knowing nothing about humanity, and we're gonna get them to recruit humans to come and end up like just being sucked into the void. And yeah, no, that's what Scientology is.
Mm-hmm.
Scientology is like a worse
aliens look
version
at
of the
Scientology and be
Ferengi.
like, aliens look at them and be like, where did we go wrong?
There was one. Hang on.
So yeah, continue.
So there was this idea. I saw this on a post once, and I can't remember if I sent it to you or not. But it was like a setting of like aliens had come to drop off two of the galaxy's worst criminals of all time. And they locked them on this uninhabited planet by themselves. And they were like the number one worst offenders the galaxy had to offer. So they left and then they came back expecting it to have like a few like thousands of years later, right? Expecting these criminals were dead, long gone. They just needed to confirm that they were dead and all that stuff. They come back and they found out that criminals the number one wanted criminals 1 and 2 had escaped and had populated the planet, and those criminals were Adam and Eve, and that they had populated and taken over a planet, and then immediately the alien species like cordoned off our entire like section of the galaxy as just a lost cause. It was a really good post too. Like it was
you
really
have told
long.
me about the Adam and Eve are aliens thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good like long post, and I was just like it was a good story like to read, and it was really interesting. I think that's part of it's not technically part of the Space Australia, but like you can find it if you Google like Adam and Eve alien Tumblr and like all that stuff. So But that one was really good. I thought that was really funny too. And but there's so much good alien shit out there. Now, I read recently a book about aliens. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, to be fair. It's pretty
Okay.
rare that I read sci-fi related things. But I read Ice Planet Barbarians,
Ah, yes, yes, you did.
and like one of the number one like books on Bookstagram and all that for a little while. Um, that's probably the most recent alien book I've read, and it strikes me as like an alternate universe of Jotunheim, of like the frost
Okay.
giants from Norse mythology. It's really just what they are, like a combination of like Jotuns from Jotunheim and like tieflings from D&D, but just like they look like Jotuns. And like it wasn't a bad book. It's just that like I'm not a super big fan of when consent is like glossed over, like
Okay.
when the character starts to have an issue with it, but like and states that they have an issue with it,
But
and
they
then
still go
just
through with
suddenly doesn't
it.
care. Well,
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's not like it's and like suddenly they just don't care because they're just suddenly get super horny, which is really stupid because it just like
As
really
they do.
like it's one thing like I don't mind like like somebody tries to attack somebody and like you fight them off and like all that stuff, like the setting of it doesn't bother me. It's just that like you're seriously having a lot of consent issues and then just suddenly like
No,
I'm
it's
just so
fine.
horny, it doesn't
Right?
matter. Like, and it's just kind of like, and like it wasn't a bad book, it was just consent is addressed quite a few times, and in the towards the beginning of the book there is a non-consensual scene,
Mhm.
and it's addressed, it's a heavy theme throughout the whole book, is this non-consensual stuff, even though like it really only happens just the one time in the very beginning. And it's just kind of like I don't like that hanging over the whole book. And,
So
like that it
that the
just starts
fact that
to,
rape is just gonna happen the entire fucking book.
or that like it's like sitting like right there. It's like because like these girls like they're kidnapped from their homes and they're being taken to be sold off, like into intergalactic slavery or whatever. And like one of them is like severely raped in the very beginning, and like it's there specifically to prove a point
Yeah.
of like the threat of what's happening. But and then they get to this planet and they're trying to be saved, and like the main chick and everything like that, and she like meets this dude who she just gets super horny for.
Of
But like
course.
the whole time it's like back and forth of like his people need mates, and he likes the idea of just bringing these women just for the guys, and doesn't consider at all, like even when this chick tries to explain it to him, it
Yeah.
just like it doesn't even register. And I'm like, no, that's
No.
humanity. I don't need that in my fantasy book about aliens. I like to believe that aliens
Aliens
in
are
my
better.
fantasy world know what consent is. But like it's not a big deal for me if it's a scene or two like that happens and stuff like that. Like that doesn't bother me. It's when it's a reoccurring hanging theme over the entire book that it
I
gets
get
kind of,
that. I get that.
I'm starting to like, I don't need every chapter to have the threat of sexual assault in it. Like I don't need that. Like for women who live on Earth, it's already a problem.
Right?
Like
Like we already lived through this. I don't need to go through it in my fantasy book.
you read the books for the escapism part, and like just because it's on an alien planet with aliens
Doesn't
doesn't
make
make it
the
better.
harassment any better.
It's like, and it's just like it's the ongoing harassment. Now, if like you just want to read that kind of smut, like more power to you. Like do whatever you want. But like it's when it's a part of the plot.
Yeah.
That is the most recent alien book I've read.
Okay.
Um if we're excluding my 1 billionth reread of like the Innkeeper Chronicles. But like I said, I don't read like a lot of alien books, but I think that one is the most recent one I've read. But I am always a little on the fence about those kinds of books. But I don't, sci-fi on its own doesn't usually appeal to me too much. Like I like to
Why
watch
not?
it, but I don't necessarily like to read it because I feel like sci-fi fantasy books are usually more interesting, in my opinion, to read than they are to watch. Because like when you read a book, I can imagine like these cool looking dragons or this awesome castle and stuff like that. And like it can be interesting to watch, but it all gets kind of Game of Thrones style looking where you're staring about a
Okay.
bunch of people in like medieval dress, you know, and like standing around chatting in a stone room again and again and again and again. So like I find it more appealing to read it because it's more entertaining and more like creative imaginatively.
Yeah, I can see that because everyone's imagination is different. So
Yeah.
like you can see something. Your version of Prithian will probably look a lot different than mine.
Yeah.
Probably look a lot different than Aaron's. Like,
Yeah, and so like I like to read that. I like to read the fantasy. Sci-fi on the other hand, I find is better in film form
okay,
because of the space aspect of it. Because like I could sit here and think of different aspects of space, but it's more impactful to look like at the nebulas and the galaxies and stuff like
yeah,
that
I
than it
see
is to just to
that.
picture that in my head or like to think about the alien cultures or what these aliens look like. And but yet to then sit there and watch like an episode of Star Trek or like Star Wars and see what these alien species look like is more entertaining and more interesting in my opinion. And
I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So like I think it has a lot to do with like the imagination of the people who create the stuff too, but like I think space is more visually appealing to look at in like a visual medium than fantasy is simply because most of the time, not most of the time, but a significant amount of the time when you go towards the direction of fantasy, you go towards the direction of like medieval
Yes.
and like that's only so interesting to look at. Like I don't really
Facts.
need to look at people like in various forms of peasant garb or like whatever. Like, you know, but like in space, instead I could look at a giant talking philosopher chicken, which is far more interesting to look at. You know, like and that I just feel like I like the visual aspects of that better. So like I don't read a lot of sci-fi
I don't
for
have a
that.
lot of sci-fi. I obviously have a lot more fantasy, but the few sci-fi that I have, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like it's a good adventure
Mhm.
because it is YA, so it's a lot of YA bullshit set in space.
YA can have some good ones. Like there's I've definitely have read like a couple of good like sci-fi ones and stuff like that. I have a couple I think that are on my TBR of like, hey, these are in space, and it's just like, yeah, yeah, they are. I'm gonna get
Yep,
there.
we'll get there eventually.
It's like let me get through all my other many ones that I've got, but I don't tend to reach for sci-fi very often. And like maybe I should venture out into the world of sci-fi a little bit and like interestingly enough, I don't know. Like, I know the tropes that are present in fantasy books. I'm not as familiar with the tropes that are in sci fi books. Because, like,
Uh,
you have, like, fated mates and stuff like that that are
oh.
in fantasy books. I've never heard of a fated mates sci fi book.
In Aurora Rising, there's something kind of similar.
Mm
So there's this one like alien species that when they meet the person that they are to be mated to, like that were like, yeah, that they're gonna be mated to,
hmm. Mm hmm.
they can feel something and they're not quite sure what it is until it dings. They're just like, oh, that's what
Yeah.
I'm going through because like they've heard about it that people
Yeah.
but they won't know until they experience it. And so I'm like, that's interesting because there's these two characters who are siblings, and one is bad, one is good. The bad one turns good eventually, but like the bad one ends up falling for a human, and she doesn't realize it.
Mm hmm.
And she's like the war king's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Like she's bred for this. Like she should have killed this person. She should have tortured them. She does none of it. Just fucking flirts with them, throws her shoe at them. Like they get into brawls.
Yeah.
And like her inner monologue is, why the fuck am I doing this? It's just like, why am I not killing this person?
Yeah. Okay.
And like one of the characters who's like the big not the big, but like she's hot, she's this, she's that, she's all of it, right?
Yeah.
Falls in love with like the gangly, sickly other alien dude. who's just a
Okay.
smart ass, and she's like, "Wow, I do love him."
Yeah. It's like this news to me.
Right?
But like I don't hear much. Like I feel like people talk a lot about fantasy books, but you don't hear a lot of people talk about the sci-fi books too.
I mean,
Like maybe
closest thing
we're
on
just not into that part of like bookstagram and all
I
that,
was to
but
say, like, the closest thing you'll find on book talk about sci-fi will be just space porn.
like the Ice Planet Barbarian series.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which again was not like it wasn't a bad book. I don't have a desire to continue it though.
And how
So
many of them are in that
a
fucking series?
lot. There were so many more than I expected there to be. Like I was expecting more fleshed out plot though.
Oh.
So like it did strike me more as like the I paid $1 for a smut book online
I paid
situation.
$1 for a smut book online.
Yeah, and like then I did like hey, because like the cover that they have when you like go to Barnes and Noble and like you look at the cover,
Right.
not the cover you get if you buy the digital version of that book
Oh, okay.
at all.
Good to
Eh,
know.
The digital cover but version of the book looks like I paid $1 for a smut book cover, and because like that's what it was originally, and it's just like, and I'm no stranger to those books, but like this one it just is, and like a lot of them don't have plot enough that you pick up a sequel, but most people don't read them for plot anyway, so
Yeah, if you're gonna read smut, you're reading it for the smut.
yeah,
Now,
and
I
it's just like
generally like reading smut with plot.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if it's just straight smut, and there's no plot, like, I'm gonna be annoyed real quick.
yeah, yeah, me too, and it's just kind of like there's a very fine line of like how often it should be present. Like the book that we're reading now, the King of
Battle and Blood.
There you go. Thank you. I know there's King and Blood, and I can't remember the rest of it. It's starting to for me to like border on there's not enough plot for this, or at least not enough plot to justify the amount of sex that's happening in it. And I'm gonna finish the book. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go all the way to the end with this one, but I'm gonna need a better balance as we get forward into this because it's
Alright.
starting to just kind of it needs to be at least 50-50,
Alright.
preferably like 75-35, instead, but at least 50-50, or because the plot part has to at least justify why it's happening and not just that it's happening. So
I
if
feel
I'm
like you would enjoy the Hades and Persephone one better then.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about her series. I just feel like with this one, it again, I like the book so far. I like the plot for it and I like the overall story. And I even like both of the main characters so far.
That's
But I
big coming
need
from you.
I know, right? I need justification for the things that happen. But the stupidest part in the world, how you sit there and like you just come up with weird fantasy scenarios, like daydreams
Yes.
and stuff like that. Like for some reason, like you're just sitting there, you're bored and like thinking about like what would happen if I got magical powers and like I went off to Hogwarts or whatever. When I do that, I have to have logical reasoning for all of it, like of what has happened. Because like I can't just be like, well, I was 12 years old and like I got sent to Hogwarts. No, why am I now going to Hogwarts with a bunch of 12-year-olds? No, I need logical reasonings for the fantasy things. And like there has to
at
be
30 to,
genuine.
at 30 years old, at 31 years old, you are sent to Hogwarts. You
Mm-hmm,
live in a completely separate like tower
mm-hmm,
where you are not surrounded. You don't have a common room. You are just there,
uh-huh,
and you are like the new professor in training that everyone calls you, when really
mm-hmm.
you're just a student.
I like it kind of relates to me to like more like the Hogwarts Legacy game where you're coming in as like you're a much older student. And like, but I have to have justification for these things. And I seek that justification for things in my books too. It's like it has to have logical reasons. You can't just tell me this happens because no, that doesn't make any sense. Why
You
did that
can't tell me
happen?
like that Isolde and Adrian met in the middle of a forest and all of a sudden they're just fucking now.
Like if they would have had like an immediate sex scene, I would have been like, I think I would have had, well, it would have been weird because then I would have had a different opinion of her. I'd have just been like, well, you just a real slut now, aren't you?
You're just a real slut now.
It's just like I would have taken a different tone with my approach to the book, though. But like when I'm trying to look at these things for like the plot thing, I think that's one of the things. Like when I look at a series, too, I don't want to be able to just the plot holes to be so big that it just throws you out of the story.
Okay.
Or if you're like the main issues with it are just like you could have done literally anything but this is what the author went with, and it just doesn't fit well. Like I think that's probably my big issue with in A Court of Thorns and Roses, and Reese gets Freya drunk and mostly
Feyre.
naked, and like Feyre, and like drunk and mostly naked, and parades her under the mountain for 30 days. You could have done literally anything else. Like if you didn't want Amarantha to pay attention to her, just make it look like Feyre had the shit beaten out of her. Like she couldn't stand. You know, like just you could have done like literally just like 1,000 different things. But this, getting her drunk and have her stripper dance around in front of the entirety of Prithian was your go-to move. And I'm just like,
and drug her so she doesn't remember.
And it's just like that. That's such a weird thing. I can't find logic in justifying. So
then again, he did ask her if she wants to remember this, and she said no. So he gave her said drugs.
I don't think she was consenting for like a whole month of being naked and drunk in front of. And for the record, it's like he asked, do you want to remember this? Didn't elaborate the possibilities of what could happen. Probably wasn't aware it was drunken dancing in front of the entirety of the people she would one day rule with. So, you know.
Your future high lady is prancing around butt fucking naked.
How would you... I don't understand how at that meeting with the court when they're all talking, how you look at this woman in the eye. They're all sitting there because they all must just be sitting there thinking, yeah, no, I spent a month watching her dance naked around Rhysand. Like
everyone just like, Rhysand, you know we're all thinking it, right? Helion doesn't like hold back. He's just like, hey, when is she gonna dance for me?
Yeah, and it's just like, but I would be embarrassed as her.
So would knowing I, like, that you all saw that.
Yeah, and like it's just like, it's one thing if you're gonna do it like in the privacy of your own room or something, but like it's another thing entirely to do, because like especially considering the fact that everything that happened to Rhysand, why would he want to submit somebody else to like sexual exploits in that manner, considering everything that he went through? And I just think those are like plot holes. So I have an issue with like, if you can't sit here and make it sound like a genuine logical argument for why this happened, no. And that's some of my issue. But then again, I have that same issue with many, many, many books. As Ani pointed out earlier, she was surprised I liked a book, which is silly in some ways because there's so many books that I do like, but there's so many. I also enjoy picking them apart. I enjoy picking out the plot holes, and I enjoy like nitpicking at it. Like if anybody who's listened to any of our series, I think I got, 2 seconds into the first Harry Potter movie.
26 seconds
before I went on like a 20-minute rant about like Sirius Black and like the motorcycle and stuff like that.
26 seconds.
I enjoy that, and like I complain, or I don't complain. I guess maybe it's taken that I complain. I nitpick at the ACOTAR series a lot. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. Doesn't mean I didn't like it. Like Sarah J. Maas mentioned that she's working on the next one. I'll read it. Like, that's fine. I have to get through the other two first. Like,
yes, you have to get through the fan fiction that you call it and the Nesta one.
Yes, I was so excited to read that book too, and now I'm just not. And I'm just like, I'm reading everything else
besides Silver Flames. Like, and I'm just like, read Silver Flames. It gets so much better.
I know so much of the plot. And like, but I have to get through the fan fiction first, and but that would be the only book I swear I would annotate. And like I would highlight like sections of it and be like, what the fuck is this? What does that mean? Why? And then I'll send it to you. Like I'll send it to you so you can read it with all of my notes in it. It's the only book I'd ever be willing to annotate. So, but like when it comes to like plot and logical and stuff like that. It's interesting too, like with sci-fi books and like the alien books too, like a little more leniency in some aspects of like this is just an alien race kind of a thing. In the same way that I think we approach like the fantasy books of like the Fae and stuff like that. Like these are different species, and I think they get away with more in fantasy books that have other species and sci-fi books that have aliens in it, because you're going to give more leeway to behavior and stuff like that because they're a different species.
It's true.
And I'm more willing to forgive some of the behavior of like like Vulcans, or like I can't name a Star Wars species, or like the Fae and stuff like that, than I am to like forgive like Feyre or like some of the humans in some of these books and stuff like that, because I know what you are capable of in the cultures and logics that you come from, and it's just like, yeah, no, that was just
No, you
stupid.
could have done so much better than what you decided to do.
Yeah, and it's just like, would I hold the philosopher chicken to the same standards that I would hold Feyre to? No, I would not.
No.
He's a philosopher chicken. Like, but like it's an interesting approach too. And like I think I should read more sci-fi books because I'd like to read more. I really love things that like really deep dive into different cultures and stuff like that. Like it's one of the
Okay.
reasons I like reading like the stuff about the Fae, and I love the extra cultures and stuff like that. And I love like Star Trek because it really shows you all of these different alien cultures, and that's the anthropologist in me that just enjoys it specifically for that purpose. And I'm just like, I like to listen to the different cultures and the aspects and the lore and the behavior
Have
patterns.
you
And
have you ever read any Nora Roberts?
no, I have not.
She's got some with like magic and fae and whatever that's really
I've
good.
heard that. Yeah.
One that
There's.
I'm reading, I need to read the third one. It came out recently. Is about dragons.
We do like dragons.
We do like dragons.
We do like our dragons.
So,
Any more things to talk about aliens before we just
alien
like? I'm gonna assume at this point our episode is like
books.
50% aliens, 50% everything else. But
It's
it's a
kind of
tea time
how it,
episode. It's not supposed to be like 100%
one
of one thing.
consecutive thing. Yeah.
Because nobody
Uh,
thinks in that way either. Like we're like
no,
people
and
don't.
everyone, the majority of people have ADD, and this is how they function.
Well, and like it's just following the natural train of thought. Like we were, we talked about books, so we talked about books that we read and stuff like that too. So, and one thing I will say, interestingly, because as I'm sitting here staring at my D&D books, one of the more recent source books that came out is set in space, and
Oh,
there's I think it's Pathfinder is also has like a lot of space and stuff like that. And there are some space like RPGs and stuff, which could be pretty interesting too to like venture into for anybody who's interested in like more sci-fi stuff but is interested in RPGs.
speaking of space, I am back to playing my space video game that I
Which
haven't
one?
played in quite a while, but that I decided to buy, whatever I'm behind on. Destiny.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played Destiny since the Destiny 2, since the Osiris campaign.
Okay.
And like I was just like so many things have come out after that. Like I tried to play it and I didn't realize that it like so much has come out before like after that. I'm like, oh no wonder I can't play it because I don't have any like I'm like 4 seasons behind.
Okay.
Uh but no, I bought the the last campaign and
Mhm.
the season pass.
Okay.
So and the next season is coming out, so I got to pre-order that eventually. But
Speaking
it's
of video games, okay, well, I'll
yeah,
let you finish, and then I have something to say about video games.
no, it's fine. Um, it's you have three subclasses you can choose from to play. You can either
Mm-hmm.
play a hunter, a titan,
Mm-hmm.
or a warlock.
Okay.
Now, I like the hunter just
Mm-hmm.
because like I should play as as a titan because I like to go into the middle of the fight and just beat shit up.
Okay.
Like that's just how I play. Hunters are meant to be played like, snipers, rangers, stuff like that. I don't do that very well. So I
I
am
love the
squishy.
fact that that is exactly how you play Valkyria.
Yeah, that's
Like,
how I play
Valkyria
video.
as a spellcaster should be standing away from the fights, but you were the first one to run up into the mix.
Yep, that's exactly how I play video games, and it's fucking hilarious. But I like playing my hunter. It's I don't know, it just works better. Um, I think mostly because it has triple jump. That
Okay.
saves my ass a lot.
Okay.
Uh, and you have each character like, and so you have these, and then you also so you have your character. You are either one of those three, and then you get to choose what race you are: human, awoken. I don't know what else there is. You know, like cyborg. And then you have your subclass,
Mhm.
which is either you're gonna do arc, which is lightning, like
Okay.
electricity, void, or solar.
Okay.
I like the fire, so I am a solar awoken hunter.
Okay.
It's so
Surprise, surprise.
surprise, surprise. I'll have to take. I redid. I added some. Not mods, but like colors to my armor. So I must show you a picture because I think you'll really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun. Like I don't like shooting games, like Call of
Mhm.
Duty or whatever. But this one is a shooting game, but it's also a role playing game.
That's fair, yeah.
So it combines a lot of what I like.
That's fair.
So it works. And I've
Yeah.
realized I've gotten better at shooting because I feel like Hogwarts Legacy has helped me with that, with like where I point my wand and whatever. Yeah.
I have something I have got to say about Hogwarts Legacy.
By all means, please tell.
Now, look, everybody, or at the very least you,
Yeah.
are aware I don't play a lot of video games that are on a console. All of my video games, for the most part, handheld stuff.
Hmm.
Like it's always been like Game Boys, the Nintendo, like the DSs, and now the Switch handheld version
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm much more of a handheld game person. I've had PlayStation and Xboxes before. I've had PlayStation 1 and 2, and then I had the Xbox 360 for a really long time. At what point did they decide that it was a good idea to make it the camera and where it is pointing separate from
Yeah.
whatever direction that your character is pointed in? Because I fucking hate that so much. I hate it. Hate I hate it so much. It fucks me
Yeah.
every time I get into combat, into Hogwarts Legacy. Every single time. And I'm like, how I don't think you can turn it off. And I hate it.
No,
And it
you
drives
can't
me
turn it off because
insane.
your left stick
Mm-hmm.
is your direction. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
look up, down, left, right, whatever. Your right stick is your movement.
I hate it. I
Do you know
hate
how
that they're
long it fucking took me to get used to that when I started playing Destiny? Because I'm like, the other games, you don't have to look around that much, and it's not like too action packed or whatever. Destiny,
Mhm.
people are shooting at you constantly. There are
Yeah.
enemies everywhere, and I'm just like, I can't turn around and aim at the same fucking time and shoot and dodge. And I'm like, oh my god,
I hate it. I hate
I'm
it so
better now.
I hate it so much. And like I feel like having the independent camera is fine, but I feel like you should have to click another button to then separate them into the different controllers. So I could then like if I pushed like R2 and held it down, I could then use the stick to like look around and stuff like that. Because the independent all the time thing is such a pain in the ass, specifically in combat, because I keep getting my ass handed to me by these stupid
Yep.
night things.
Oh,
Because
the knights,
and
yeah.
the thing that throws me off with them is the fact that most of the time I get my ass handed to me because I don't see one coming because I'm facing the camera is facing the wrong fucking direction and I hate
Yep.
it. I
Yep.
can't. I was just playing last night and like I kept having to go through the same fucking scene over and over and over and over again. And like I don't play often enough to like consistently start building upon skill and like getting better. And I've been trying to play a little more often than usual, but like I still haven't gone very far. Like I just did the restricted section thing last night
Okay.
or the night before, so like I just did that, and it took me so many times to get past all of those nights, and like to the point it was a little like I wouldn't say it was embarrassing, because I haven't played like a
It's
console video
frustrating.
game in so long, but it was very frustrating, especially because like it doesn't let you like there was a point in like the last room that you're fighting the knights in, and there's
Hmm.
two trunks that are right there, and
Okay.
you open them first and then you go through, and every time I would die it would push me back when I hadn't opened them yet,
Yep.
and
So
so
that's
every
the
time I
checkpoint.
opened them the items were different, and it would piss me off because I would get something I really liked, and then I would have to, and like I lost one of the I got this really nice like powder blue robe, and I really liked it, and it matched the whole rest of the things I had, and it looked great. And then no, I died, and it gave me this horrible, ugly, like striped dress bullshit, and I'm like, what? Why?
What?
Why? Why? And that's when I realized it gives you different things when you go, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, I must have opened those chests so many fucking times that I'm just like, sure, sure, why not? But yeah, no, it drove me
No, I
nuts.
get that. I totally get that. My biggest thing with Hogwarts Legacy is the
mm,
flying.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. I'm interested to see how that goes because I've heard a lot of things about the flying.
Like I
So
can fly. It's fine. I
mm,
can fly. But if you are timing me and I have to go through a fucking course,
yeah,
like I made it to the third course, and I can't fucking beat the time on the third course. I'm just like, I'm done. I don't care. I
that's
won't.
fair.
I won't like platinum this game. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's fair. I I like the game. I I spend too much time changing my character's appearance, probably. But I got a really nice floppy wizard's hat that I just love, and a blue dragon scarf recently, and it's very pretty. It's a good
Nice.
combination. I spent. I do like. I'm one of those people who like. I like to explore. Like I'll do like a cursory, like exploring of an area, and then if I know it's an area I'm probably not going to come back to, like with the restrictions section and like fighting the knights and everything like that. Um, I do like just. I immediately just pull up like a walkthrough thing and be like, hey, I want to make sure I don't miss anything before I can't come back to this area again. But
Fair. Don't
I
forget
have
to when you learn Flipendo, don't forget to find some cows and flip them 10 times
okay.
because that
What
will
I
give you an achievement.
what I need to do is spend some time on the world of the internet figuring out what those stupid doors do. The ones where you like
Oh, the
flip
red and the blue one. The red and blue
the
ones.
flip the thing and has like the symbol on it. Like they have like a spider or like a hamster looking thing or whatever, and like you have to go through. I can't understand how anybody looked at this fucking door, and then like once you flip the two symbols and then it comes up with what looks like a fucking alchemist circle on it with numbers, and I'm like, how did anybody figure out what the fuck that was supposed to mean?
Oh, those. It's math.
Yeah, and I'm like, what was the first player to sit down and be like, you know what? And I'm just like, I
Now
look at them and I'm just like, I have no clue,
it's
none.
because see, I was confused too, and then I realized because after I figured out how to do it, because I
Mm-hmm.
cheated, I unlocked the chest
Okay.
that gave me the instructions on how to fucking figure out the doors.
There's a chest that tells you how to figure out the doors.
Yeah. There's a piece of
Okay.
paper in one of those chests, and I'm like, I don't fucking remember where I got it from. I think I got it. I think the one that I found it in was a chest in the Great Hall upstairs in a
Yeah.
little storage area.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, because like I walk, anymore I see one and I just go the other way. Like fuck no, I have no idea what they're supposed to be. What they're supposed like I have to spend some. There's so many of them, and I'm just like I need to spend some time like actually going through and like opening all of them and like all that and whatever. But at the moment, I'm just trying to figure out how to duel. I just need to duel. I just need to get better at the dueling, and
I will tell you the for the doors, it's actually really easy.
I'm sure it is, but like
The
just
symbols around the door go from 0 to 9. So
yeah,
the first one on the bottom left is a 0, and then the very
yeah,
last one was like some kind of weird squid is a 9. So the spider's an 8, the crab's a 5, stuff like that.
yeah.
So you just do the math on that and then press the according, flip the symbols.
Yeah. And it's just like and like that's fine and everything like that. But like I don't understand who was the first person to sit there and stare at it and be like, I got this. Like I
I
no.
got this.
No, I don't. In all honesty, if the internet didn't exist, those doors would remain unopened forever. Like, they would never be opened, and I would be fine with that because I would leave them alone out of spite.
Out of
So,
spite.
out of
Yeah, you
pure,
would.
unadulterated spite. And, there are several aspects of this game that I like. I like that I can pet all the cats.
Yes.
But there's some of them that just makes me go, oh my god. The camera is the big thing. I can't. I'm having such a hard time with the fucking independent camera shit. And I'm just like, I don't like this at all. So it is,
You'll learn to get used to it.
yeah, I just like walking around the castle is fine. It's the dueling part that it starts to like, at the very least, last night when I played, I got a lot of practice. So,
There you go.
because I did it a lot of times. So it's just like, yeah, I did get a lot of practice for that. So, but I
I
did,
love dueling in that game. It's so fun.
like, it would be fun if I could just fucking get over the fact that it's the camera. When, like, I kept doing the strategy because I was having the hard time with the camera and they were like coming at you from all sides and I wasn't rotating like fast enough. I kept luring them back through a doorway so I knew which way they would come at me from. And like that's how I won. Is I just kept going into the room, they would activate, they would come towards me, and if I didn't defeat them before they got into the doorway, they would come through the doorway. And like that was my main strategy of how I figured how I got that to work. And I'm like, there just needs to be a doorway in every duel that I have. So
It's one of the you'll come across it later, but it's one of the puzzles and it's a quest.
mm-hmm.
Um Herodita or something like that.
Okay.
Her like puzzle quests or whatever in the fucking game. There's no way I can do them without cheating. I just
Yeah.
can't because I'm just like, how the fuck am I supposed to move this shit around?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some of those kinds of things that just get you and you're just like, okay, sure. And like I
Um,
don't have any issues like going on the internet and finding these answers cuz like it's like is it more fun for me to like be able to figure it out? Yes, but it's more frustrating for me to
if I
sit
can't
here
figure it
for
out,
2 hours walking in circles trying to figure out what to do and like the answer is glaring you right in the face.
yeah.
And so like I have no issues just going on there and just being like, "Hey, how to?" Because luckily YouTube exists. And it's full
Yep.
of YouTubers who have played Hogwarts Legacy and are more than happy to show you how to do these things.
IGN is where I go to find all my answers
Yeah.
because they have like a play by play of stuff.
Yeah. They're really good. There was one that I did for one of the Pokemon games and he was really good. I used him for 2 different Pokemon games. I used him for I think it was X and Y and the Sun and Moon. And I used him for both. And I think it was an X and Y. The thing that cemented how much I liked him was the fact that it was the first game, I think it was X and Y that you could do this. It was the first game you could sit on the benches. And in like
Oh,
I was looking at a tutorial for one of the areas and I came across like the very first time you go in his video for like the very first time you go into a space that has a bench you can sit on. And I love how much detail they put into it because they change the whole perspective of what you're looking at when you do that. And sometimes you're looking at something suddenly that's really pretty and like something that's really different or new angles and stuff like that. They put a lot of work into it. He spends like several minutes losing his goddamn mind over this. And I'm just like, finally, someone who is as excited as I was after all of these years just to be able to sit on a fucking bench
fucking
in this
bench.
game. How many decades Pokemon games have been around? And you can just now sit on a bench or a bed and you just sit in a way that's not like your character stands over the image of like a cushion. You know, and it's just like, no, your character's full body turned and then took a seated position onto a bench to the point it changed the perspective of what you could see in the game. I lost my I went in that town and sat at every bench in every seat on the bench to see every fucking angle that I could. And he was just as excited about it as I was. And I'm like, finally, someone who understands the decades of suffering of not being able to sit in a Pokemon game. And yeah, no, that was I love tutorial stuff. Because sometimes they're just as like nerded out as I am about stuff, and it's really good.
I did a full walkthrough for Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
because I'm just like, back then I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Mm.
So I would like a tutorial. Someone just
That's,
tell me where to fucking go.
that's fair. There was one game, I want to say it was for the DS. It's one of those. It wasn't Epic Mickey, but it was one of those games where like you have to go around setting the different characters because you were taken into another world and you had to
Okay.
release the characters. It wasn't Kingdom Hearts either, and I know that sounds a lot like Kingdom Hearts. But there was one of these games and it was like you had to go and like sometimes you were playing as these other characters. Like there's an underwater part and like you're playing through as Ariel and stuff like that. But and I can't remember what it's called, but it's been a really long time. And I spent ages trying to get through one of the aerial parts of swimming and like trying to like defeat something I don't even remember anymore. But I like
Sounds like
I
Kingdom Hearts.
it does sound like Kingdom Hearts, but it wasn't fucking Kingdom Hearts, and I don't remember what it
They
was.
had one for the DS.
Yeah, it didn't have the Kingdom Hearts characters in it,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't remember because I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, and I know it wasn't a.
Okay.
I know it was that's was. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to Google and I'll tell you about it when I find it. But even with the tutorial, I could not get past this one part, and I actually just after months and months of going through the same level over and over and over again, even with the tutorial, and I couldn't get through it, I just put the game down. I'm like, no,
Fuck
it
it.
shouldn't be this hard, and just like it should not be this hard. Like I at one point, like I restarted the game, and I like to redo it, and I'm just like, I can't keep doing this.
You're like, I still can't get past this fucking level, so I'm done.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just like, nope, nope, nope. Okay, I did find which game it was. I believe it was Disney Epic Mickey Power of Illusion.
Sure.
And it was a DS game. Yeah, is that a DS? Yeah, it was a 3DS game. And I got really into it for quite a while and then I just couldn't get past that section. It just kept kicking my ass. All right. So we've managed to talk about aliens,
Everything.
ACOTAR, books,
Video games.
tropes, video games, movies, sci-fi versus fantasy, and how basically we would both like to live on an alien planet. So, and you did some embroidery, and I ate part of a Pop-Tart. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I'm in that stage of my ADHD where my hands must be doing something.
That's fair. Like just sitting here, like if we're not watching something or whatever, like it has to, something has to be going on. So
Yeah.
but like I think we've covered quite a range of topics. To be fair, we've decided which humans we think are aliens, and which ones we wish aliens would just come get. Just
take the Scientologists and their stupid Xenu and shit, and yeah, just fucking take them.
Just take the Scientologists, take the over the top religious, and
take all the cult leaders. I found another cult that I want to learn up on.
I love how sometimes like things just come up on my feed on Instagram that are about cults, and I know it's because of you. Just like because it likes to show you things that the people you follow have watched or liked, and like sometimes like I'd be like, this cult from 1962, and then I don't even have to no, I look down and like, yeah, it was liked by Ani. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I'm getting this. Like sometimes like I forget that's what happens, and I'll look at like, oh well, I bet so and so would like this, and I forget to look at who's liked it already, and I'll send you guys something that you definitely have already liked already, and I try to look at those things before I send it. But it's funny how much influence the people you follow and interact with have on your For You page.
Yeah. Ugh.
All right, guys, you have traveled into the far reaches of the galaxy with us. May your travels and efforts to find a new planet are successful. Please take us with you. Please
take us with you.
And we definitely recommend anybody who gets bored spending a little bit of time looking up Space Australia for your own entertainment.
Or humans are weird. All of it. Just look up all of it.
That's true. Pinterest, Instagram, Google Images if you feel like it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on our alien themed tea time, and live long and prosper.
I can't do that. Hang on. There you go. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, people.
I can't. Like, fucking. What is this?
I don't know what you're doing. I don't. It looks like a dinosaur claw.
Yeah. I got these two are fine. This.
You can get your index and like middle fingers to touch, but you can't do it with the other one.
I can do this. I can do this. Yeah.
You can give me a peace sign and like woo. Oh, I love it. Live long and prosper, people. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Tune in next week for more fuckery because we have some serious questions and concerns.